not a good disorder by any means, but just an interesting one to learn about. So my mom was in the hospital at this point, I think. I'm not sure. Actually, I was writing like packing lists for Michigan, so probably not yet. Actually, yeah, this was, yeah. So, okay. I have like a huge thing for feathers, guys. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen in my other journals that I have like a huge thing for feathers and like spiritual meanings and so on. So I was really upset this day because my mom was in the hospital. We weren't going to be able to go visit my sister. I was really nervous about my mom being sick, and I had a behavioral neuroscience test that day. And I found this feather while I was walking to my test. And then while I was waiting to take my test, this guy that I have never met before started talking to me, and he described my style, I guess, as the perfect mix between indie coffee house and preppy, and I took that as pretty much the best compliment I've ever gotten in my life. And that he also described me as being like the girl from New Girl, like Zooey Deschanel, like Jessica Day from New Girl, and I thought I liked that compliment too. I thought that was really nice. Yeah, this guy was really nice. Haven't seen him around since, but I met him in the testing center, and yeah, he was really nice. I think he might have been on the spectrum, but it was really interesting talking to him because I don't know, usually when you meet people, they don't just start opening up really quick, and that's not typical of people on the spectrum, so I'm not sure, but it was really cool how he just jumped into conversation with me. It was actually really a good distraction from my emotions. So, okay, here I'm writing about how I'm not in Michigan, and I got new skeleton pajamas, which I was also excited about. Alright. This was all just like a weird dream I had, kind of nightmare-ish lucid dream. And like dance classes, because I think this week I went back to dance after finding out that my psoas was partially teared and that my labrum wasn't. I felt really inspired about school for a little bit, kind of just coming out of that now. I did like a DBT kind of thing on this page, but it was like a personal matter, so I covered it up. Same here. Yep. So on these pages, on this day, I took myself out on a date or whatever. I used to do this all the time where I would just like go out to dinner by myself and kind of just have like a date with myself. This is something I had been doing since I was like 19 years old. Like, I remember when I was like living at college and everything, and I had a boyfriend and stuff like that, I would just be like, I'm going on a date with myself tonight, so just to let you know I'm not gonna be around. And I would like take myself to go like see a ballet or just go out to dinner alone, or I don't know, something I do for self-care, but I hadn't done it in kind of a while because I don't know, it's kind of hard to go on dates by yourself sometimes when you are trying to have a social life and you have limited time. Like, I like going on dates with myself for self-care, but I also like spending time with my friends. And when time is limited because I'm a student and I work, I usually choose my friends over than dates with myself. But in this instance, I went on a date with myself to the Cheesecake Factory and to binge read an entire book in Barnes & Noble. So that was really fun. More doodles that I was drawing. on this day, my mom she got out of the hospital for like a day and then she went back in. That happened a lot. So on this day, it was the first day that Starbucks drinks came out, I think. Like Christmas, Starbucks, whatever. And then I kind of like went on a retail therapy, like shopping spree, and I bought like this vegan leather wallet thing. So that was a tag from that. And on here, I'm just writing about how it was a new day and how grateful I was for a new day and that I got new sheets and I was really excited about them. I was just trying to be positive because this was a really kind of rough time that I was going through. Especially like mostly because like my mom in the hospital, I don't know, I always obviously get really upset when she's in the hospital. So today, on this in particular day, it was an election day, and election day, like pretty much the month of November is just extremely hard for me from things in my past, and I get really triggered, and election day is like the most triggering day of the year for me from past things like election day, whatever, like the last election day of 2016, I had my worst suicide attempt ever. That was just really awful. I was in the hospital for so long, and election day and like after Halloween kind of through the month of December is just like historically a really hard time for me. So I was just writing about that, and I was trying to make this day really positive, but it ended up being like one of the worst days. Even though I was trying to be positive, I ended up having a massive panic attack while visiting my mom in the hospital, and it was just really a rough day. But life goes on. So I think here I was writing about how journaling is not effective all the time. I took a few days off of journaling after election day. I didn't write. I wrote the 6th, and then I didn't write again until the 10th, because something I've learned about myself is that when I'm having difficult emotions, probably one of the worst things I can do is journal about it over and over and over again. It kind of just feeds rumination. So when I'm having kind of like a mini like crisis or an actual crisis, I don't journal about it anymore because it just triggers me more. So I was writing about that here. Yeah, this was just kind of a rough time. Nowhere near as rough as things have been in the past like years. This has definitely been one of the better years. This has been probably my best year yet, as the year's coming down to a close, because I haven't been hospitalized at all. So it's kind of crazy, but anyway, so yeah, it was kind of a rough time, and I was coping with all these different difficult emotions for the first time as someone who's in school and working full time and not in a day program or inpatient or something. So it was just kind of a different experience. This is another thing I was doodling, but I never finished coloring it. I started a kind of like a new job during this journal. So I was just writing about that because I work long hours for that job. Okay, so hopefully you can't hear my stomach making all these weird noises, and if you can, I apologize. So this was the end of the journal. I kind of just wrote end of journal thoughts, and then like I wrote like the pros and the cons, the good things, the bad things, the challenging things, the neutral things. So I started working at a new place. I put my internship on hold. I planned 2 trips, but I didn't go on either one, which was totally okay. Yeah, I already kind of talked about that. Played a lot of video games, and like I haven't played video games in so long, but I was really enjoying 2 Point Hospital. which is a computer game, and Super Mario on the DS. And I was just talking about, like, I managed many stressful situations. I voted. I had an amazing Halloween. Oh, yeah. During this journal, I got catfished by a Canadian Apple employee. That could probably be a whole video on its own, even though you guys don't really like when I make videos on anything else except journaling, which is totally cool. But that happened. I got catfished by a Canadian Apple employee. It was really bizarre. I started dancing again. That was so exciting. I haven't been able to dance in like 6 months, probably. I registered for my last undergraduate semester. I raised a Tamagotchi, and I survived a difficult time, which is November voting, etc., etc. So that was my journal. I used it for a little over a month, and I got back into writing during this, got back into morning pages, and yep, my current journal is downstairs in our living room because that's where I've been doing morning pages lately. But yep, so I feel like this video is already too long and was super rambly, but if you guys lasted this long, please leave a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you want me to keep making more videos like this, more flip throughs, more journalish videos. I really appreciate you guys who have stuck around with me through this journey, and I hope you all have a good week. Take care.